17 years. 17 years of marriage, shared dreams, laughter, arguments, milestones, and quiet moments I thought were ours alone. And yet, it ended with a question I never expected. It had been nearly a decade since she walked out. 10 long years of watching her absence reshape my life, of raising our children alone, of rebuilding my sense of worth after betrayal had tried to define me. When she first left, she didn't just abandon me, she abandoned the life we had built together. She left me to navigate heartbreak, chaos, and the slow erosion of trust. Over the years, I pieced my life back together. I focused on the kids, on work, on friends, and eventually on myself. I learned to sleep through the nights without wondering where she was or who she was with. I learned to answer questions from my children without bitterness. I learned to smile without forcing it. Then, one afternoon, out of the blue, she appeared. Not at my door, not in my office, but via a simple message. "Can we talk? I was hoping we could just be friends." I read it twice. I set my phone down and stared at it, letting the words settle like stones in my chest. Friends? After everything? 17 years, and this was her opening line. I didn't respond immediately. I took a walk, letting the autumn air wash over me, letting the disbelief transform into clarity. For years, I had imagined a confrontation, a heated argument, a moment of reckoning. But this was different. This wasn't about closure. This was about her curiosity, about her attempt to insert herself into my life once again, hoping perhaps for reconciliation or absolution. I thought about what friendship would mean. Could I really strip away all the betrayal, all the hurt, and open the door to someone who had walked away so casually? And then I realized something. Friendship wouldn't be for her. It would be for me. I agreed. We met at a small cafe, neutral territory, nothing grand or sentimental. She arrived, polished, smiling nervously, clearly trying to convey warmth. I nodded, offered a polite smile, and we sat across from each other, coffee cups between us. The conversation started cautiously. Small talk about work, about the kids, about life in general. She tried to insert herself, carefully, into my world without acknowledging the years of absence, without admitting the betrayals she had committed. I let her speak, but I listened with a filter. Every word she said was measured, every tone carefully selected. Eventually, she asked about the old times, about us, about the marriage we had lost. She spoke as if nostalgia could erase pain, as if shared memories could overwrite betrayal. I nodded, answered politely, and kept the distance clear. The past could exist in memory, but it would never dictate the present. At one point she hesitated, then asked softly, "Do you think we could really just be friends?" I took a long sip of my coffee and looked out the window at the falling leaves. 17 years. The first half spent building a life together, the second half spent picking up the pieces she left behind. And now, here she was, asking for something she hadn't earned. "I think so," I said finally, calmly. "But it won't be easy. It will take time. And it won't be the same as before. Friendship now is different. It's based on boundaries, respect, and understanding that some things can never be undone." Her face fell slightly, as if expecting me to reject her entirely. But I wasn't rejecting her. I was setting the terms, the rules, the limits. I was reclaiming my power, my life, and my peace. Over the next few months, we spoke occasionally. Not often, not deeply, but enough to maintain the connection she wanted. She never tried to overstep. I never allowed it. Our interactions were civil, sometimes cordial, sometimes tinged with the faintest nostalgia, but always contained within the boundaries I had set. Through it all, I realized the truth. Friendship with someone who once betrayed you is not about forgiveness. It's about control. It's about reclaiming your life while allowing someone else to exist on your terms, without letting them dictate your emotions or your choices. 17 years later, she had returned, not as a lover, not as a partner, not even as an equal. She returned as a person seeking connection, perhaps validation, perhaps something she felt she had lost. And I returned as someone who had survived, who had healed, who had built a life stronger and more complete than before. By agreeing to her request, I wasn't opening the door to vulnerability. I was proving to myself that I could engage with her calmly, deliberately, without letting the past control me. The friendship was mine to define. The terms were mine to set. The power was mine to reclaim. In the end, I realized that this strange, tentative friendship wasn't about her. It was about me, about the choices I had made over 17 years to survive, to grow, and to thrive, about the strength it took to face someone who had once caused profound betrayal and respond not with anger, but with calm dignity. And as I walked away from that cafe, watching her fade into the autumn light, I felt a quiet satisfaction. 17 years had passed. Pain had existed. Betrayal had been endured. But I had survived. I had grown. And the friendship she sought would exist only as I allowed it to, a testament not to her return, but to my strength.